Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is where you are, and welcome back to another episode on the Annoyed Dad channel. In today's episode, the weather outside is frightful, and I'm not going to spend the day down at the farm with weather like this because I'm just going to get wet and I'm not going to get anything done and I will achieve absolutely nothing. So I'm coming inside to do something that I want to do inside that I've been meaning to do for ages, to get it on camera so you guys can actually see it and see how easy it is to do. And as you've probably guessed from the title and everything else like that, it's going to be making mead. Mead is, to put it in really, really simplistic forms, honey wine. As simple as that. So what we are going to do today, excuse my dogs in the background, they keep barking at a cat that keeps getting in the garden. It's a bit of a kamikaze cat. It just sort of like jumps in, looks at the dogs and then jumps straight back out again. But anyway, as I was saying, we are going to make mead. And to make mead, I have got in here 3 pounds of honey. And this is my honey. It's not the best honey. The best honey goes into jars and that gets sold to the public. This is honey which come off the cap ends. So where we would have like a frame of honey, you slice off the cap ends, you then put the frame into the spinner and that spins around and you get your best honey. This is the stuff that's then been drained off the cap ends and has just been left. The other sort of honey that you might also want to use if you are a beekeeper is the baker's honey, where the water percentage is higher than what you would put into the jars for your honey to be sold. So I've also got some of that out in the shed as well. So this isn't the best honey, but it's not the worst honey. You can use honey that you buy from Tesco's. There's no problem with that. Just please, if you do buy honey from Tesco's, try to buy the British honey. Look at the label. If it says a blend of EU and non-EU honeys, or even just a blend of non-EU honeys, that means it's come from China and it's probably just some sort of sugar syrup rather than actually being honey. Get in touch with a local beekeeper if you can. If you can't find a local beekeeper, try your local beekeeping association. Get local honey, use local honey, support local producers. It works out so much better. So we've got in here 3 pounds of honey in weight. It fits nicely into an ice cream tub. I had to eat the ice cream before I could put the honey into the tub. In the saucepan here, I have got 1 litre of water. What I'm trying to do is to get the water warm enough so the honey dissolves into the water. I don't want the water to boil. I don't want the water to be mega hot. I don't want to cook the honey. I just want to warm it up a little bit so as the two will mix up. Otherwise, if we pour the honey into the water, the honey's going to go straight down to the bottom of the water and it will just sit there in like a gloopy mess, one of those toys you had as a kid, or a little bit like a lava lamp, where all the gloop just goes to the bottom and it sits there, and then you warm it up and it goes bloop, bloop, and gloops up. But yeah, we want the honey to mix in with the water. So I've got the water on there, it's slowly warming up. Let's just turn it down a little bit actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this into that. This is so simple to do this. There are videos on YouTube that I've seen and I've watched, and they're like 45 minutes long, and you're just thinking to yourself, what on earth are you doing for 45 minutes to make mead? It is so simple, it's unbelievable. So whilst I'm doing this, I'll just keep on talking with some facts and figures for you that you might be interested to know. The reason why we call it baker's honey is because it's got too high of a water content in there. Now, bees are great little creatures and they normally know once it's reached the right water content, and they then come along and they cap off the cells and they close it up because they know it's going to last them and it's going to be fine. But there are occasions where there's just slightly too much water content in there, and that can lead to the honey starting to slowly ferment. That then gives the honey a horrible taste, and your customers will not want to buy it at all. That was me just splashing some over the back. That's the problem with these electric hobs. So as you can see, the honey is starting to dissolve into that. It hasn't got very hot at all. because we don't want to cook the honey because we don't want to kill off the sugars. You can see just at the back and to the side there is a demijohn. That's ready and raring to go. How are we doing? We're nearly there. Nearly there. A couple of last globules to go. Now the other option, if you don't want to do this, and you can get your honey into the demijohn whilst it's still quite set, is just to do this, add a little bit of warm water and then just start to shake it basically. Okay, so there we go, we are just about there. We don't want to get it any hotter than what it has to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move you along ever so slightly. Just clear some of this out the way. Right, so there we go, so there's Mr. Demijohn. Let me loosen up some of the straps. Oh, it's great, the sun's decided to come out. How nice of it. After I planned a day of working at home because the weather's going to be rubbish, according to the forecast. Alright, so just quickly decided that my funnel at the top there isn't big enough. I'm going to put in a bigger funnel. Let me see if I can get you fully in. Ta-da! There we go. Right, so then we take our mixture and we pour it in carefully. Oh blimey, look at that, that looks good enough to drink. So what you then do is you then get some more water. Now I am using tap water here. You might want to use boiled water, you might want to use distilled water, whatever you want to use. The reason why I'm using tap water is because I know the TDS of our tap water around here, TDS stands for total dissolved salts, is very, very low. It's less than 20 as it comes straight out of the tap. And to give you an example of that, if you haven't got the first faintest clue what I'm talking about, if you live in an area where you get a lot of limescale build-up, either in your showers, your kettles, other places like that, then you have a high TDS because the total amount of minerals which are dissolved in the water is quite high. Whereas around here, as I said, it's low, it's under 20, which works out very good for the window cleaners. Right, don't do it too much, so just about there, that is just about enough. We will take out that funnel and we will swap it for this one, because this one here is partially dry, or it's drier, but they've both been sterilised. The demijohn's been sterilised, the airlock's going in a second has been sterilised. And then all we do now, so we've got honey, we've got water, and now we're going to add some yeast. This is super wine yeast compound. You can add what's it called? The champagne yeast. If you add the champagne yeast, it will give you a slightly higher alcohol level within there as well. But it can also be quite a good idea just to add that if you're looking to make it slightly ferment a bit better. And you can see on that it says 1 heaped teaspoon per gallon. Now a gallon is 4.5 litres, and that's roughly what these take. So it says a heaped teaspoon, but what I do is I do it in 2 lots, rather than trying to pour a massive heaped teaspoon in. So there we go, that's the yeast in. And what will happen now is the yeast will attack the sugar, because obviously there's plenty of sugar within the honey. And that yeast will turn the sugar within the honey into alcohol, which is what we want. So we now take the airlock, which is one of these funky looking things. So what this allows is that as the yeast reacts in there, it gives off, I can't remember what gas it is, I think it's carbon dioxide, and that all builds up in the top and that slowly forces its way out. So the only way it can go out once the bung's in is through the hole just in the bottom there. And that goes out and it comes around here and it goes through this area here, which is water. So it basically forces the water down until it can get round that bottom piece, and then it gets around there and it just goes bloop out the top, and it comes out the top. That then means that the levels of oxygen in the top bit here, in this air gap area, are going to deplete. It's going to get rid of all of the oxygen in there. So that means that the oxygen can't react and cause us any nasties to happen. So make sure that's nice and firmly in there, which it is. I'm going to put it over to one side. It's going to go just in that gap there. I'm going to put it there and we're going to leave it. Within a couple of hours, it's going to start to bubble, and I'm going to end this video with some of it bubbling, because when it starts to bubble, my God, does it bubble. It is a big reaction. I haven't been doing homebrew for very long, but the reaction from this is quite big. So I will put up a little bit at the end of this video that shows you it going. So there you go, less than 12 minutes, we have started our mead. We're just going to leave it and let it go. If I just turn you slightly over to one side, you can see just there is another mead, and that was started on the 1st of September 2020. Today is November the 10th, 2020, and it is still bubbling away. It gives off a bubble every 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm waiting until that stops, so I know that the fermentation has stopped before I then go ahead and I bottle it and I taste it. And we get to drink it, woohoo, which is what I'm looking forward to. So, right, this is going over there. That's going to be the end of it. Keep watching, because there's going to be more bits coming up of showing it going blub, 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 blub. But for all of those videos that are out there that are taking like half an hour to show you how to make mead, I've got no idea why, because that's mead made in under 12 minutes. So this is how it looks 24 hours on. You can see that the colour of it is quite even. I've got the one over to the left of it here from the 1st of September. Today is the 11th of November. And you can see on the top of it, this is the one that we're focusing on here, this one here. You can see that the yeast has started to expand and that bubbles are forming on the top there. And it really does turn into quite a vigorous fermentation, as we've said before. So after just 24 hours, this is what the airlock is doing, and you can see how it's pushing around the gases that are escaping. Yesterday we had the water level was back to about here, but the gases have obviously forced it round and down and forced the water level to there, so as the gas can then escape, and you can see it's coming right up to the surface there. So yeah, that's after 24 hours. What I'll do is I'll place into another video how it looks after another 24 to 48 hours, because all of this lot really expands up and it comes right up. It'll probably come up to about there. If you look on this one here, you can see how it's dirty right the way up to the top bit there. That's how much that one there expanded. So thank you for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. Hit the like button. We are releasing videos every single day during England's second lockdown, so don't miss out on any. And until tomorrow's video, bye bye.